This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Anyways, what do we have here? All right, Prime Minister James Marape says the gross domestic product, GDP, post right there. Wala ni plano sa lo GDP, me just explain him short by time. For example, you sell him boy smoke, na cutting grass for man, haircut, 5 in a haircut, you sell him dinner money to on the table market, and then over 1 week, let's say, you make him amas lo this logo or something, and you bring him over the money, blow boy smoke, haircut, dinner profit or something, you bring him MGDP blue, total blue money. One kind of country, or goods and services to Papua New Guinea, you collect him all, at the end of the year, all money generated all activities. GDP blue me. Anyways, so Prime Minister was some expansion in the GDP expansion in the past 6 years is unprecedented. That word means innocent before. It's like GDP. Now GDP bloom on top more. You got plenty money straight. So as the government prepares to table the 2026 national budget on Thursday, quote unquote, over the last 6 years, we have grown the economy faster than any other time in our history, adding 50 billion kina to the GDP. All right. Remember something. All journals too, you gonna make him interview and ask him some questions. You try him get into some specific details like GDP number. There's some levels to it. We have nominal GDP categories below. Nominal GDP is the GDP according to the current commodity prices. Now, this the GDP talk or is it the real GDP? The GDP that is adjusted for inflation, right? That is the real GDP. And then we have other measurable like parameters like GDP per capita. You by kissing the real GDP and you divide it by the total number of people that are in Papua New Guinea, our population. Say if our example, if our GDP, national GDP is 100 billion kina, then you take that like one with 9 zeros, you divide it by let's say 13 million people. I don't believe the census statistics. 10 million before number. All no make sense is good. So our population is definitely between 10 to 15 million. But let's just take the average 13 million. So yes, 1 billion divided by 13 million, then you maximum GDP per person, right? Amaskina is associated with one individual in Papua New Guinea. Anyways, so most of this GDP talk here now you may saw some prices blogger and rare earth minerals inside of Papua New Guinea, like whole world commodity prices are skyrocketing. 1 gram of gold is currently 400 kina. All right. So you combining this logada, there is dual economy, by default in naturally resource rich countries like Papua New Guinea and about them. We have this extractive industry all come basically top level or operate chol na most of this money also salim go big offshore accounts, so they deal with it outside of our country. Na very little trickle down to the grassroots level by mitoga, as opposed to our local economy threat where you may through agriculture and tax blue me at all public servants and private servants. All right. So like agriculture sector, yes, the money trickles down to the people because we are involved in the chain of production, right? From the fresh produce to the downstream processing and the final products. Okay. But lo this la gold na oil na this la memo just come extracting more raw materials and all that carrying go downstream processing la because we don't have refineries here. So most of this money so go back lo late thing. So yes, it's not reflected. GDP although na paiti broslem stop it is not reflected at the middle class, I would say, middle class down to the grassroots level. You may look at all hospitals or shut down stuff. Na law and order crisis go on top stuff. Or schools not got enough curriculum materials, but whatever they do to help serve all workline instead civil servants, they do their best. But sometimes you walk him gonna you look at some no one support them long but then but you give up. So the reality on the ground is not reflecting the amount of money this guy is so fond of boasting about. So yes, the GDP alone is not a good measure of our our economy or the strength of our economy. The status quo of our country is looking like shit right now. We're about to get gray listed, so a lot of money escaping everywhere despite these huge growths. All right. Anyways, if you're an economist watching this, please enlighten us on this topic of economics and GDP in general. So, we educate each other, Naomi, create awareness to no topic. So, Ogara Youth Masawe, what is happening in the country before all was Senabla ballots, 2027. No can vote us and man, vote like a patriot.